to do is start off just sitting in our chair. I want you to think about keeping your knees above your feet, kind of right above those ankles. Think about drawing your belly button in into the spine. And we're going to start off with some nice big inhales. So we're going to inhale it all the way up. And exhale it out. I'm going to back up just a touch. And exhale. And inhale it up. And exhale. And inhaling it up. And exhale it out. We're going to take one more nice big inhale. This time we're going to clasp at the top. So we're going to bring it up, and we're going to take that stretch, and we're going to reach it all the way up. Reaching up and out of that chair, and then we're going to lean it to one side. And bringing it back up, and release to the other side. Bring it back up to the center. We're going to release those arms and roll those shoulders back. Nice big shoulder circles. And we're going to go back to that nice big inhale, bringing it back up. Taking that reach all the way up to the ceiling. And leaning it to one side. And back up. And to the other side. And bringing it back up. And release those arms. And roll those shoulders. This time we're going to take our inhale all the way up. And when we release the arms, we're going to clasp behind the back. Now, if you don't have that flexibility in the shoulders, you can reach for your chair. Otherwise, we're going to try to open up that chest, reaching for those arms, taking those nice big inhales and exhales, releasing any tension in that chest. And then release those arms and roll those shoulders back. Let's do that one again. We're going to inhale it all the way up. And releasing the arms and reaching for those hands, opening up that chest. Nice big inhales and exhales. And then release the arms and roll those shoulders. We're going to take a nice inhale back up. And we're going to take a forward fold. So we're going to reach it down and towards those toes, kind of folding that body in half. Now only bend down as far as comfortable. If you need to, you can always stop at the knees. Releasing that body, releasing any tension. Taking nice big inhales and exhales. And then we're going to slowly roll it back up one vertebrae at a time. And we're going to inhale it back up. And reach it back towards the toes. Releasing any tension in that neck. We're letting that head just fall in between those arms. Think about shaking the head yes a little bit. Nodding the head no. Just releasing any tension that we're holding on to in that neck. And then slowly letting it fall in between those arms. And then slowly rolling it all the way back up to that seated position. Roll those shoulders. We're going to take a nice gentle neck stretch. So we're going to take our hands to one side of the head, and then we're going to take the other arm, palm up, and then take just a nice gentle stretch. No need to really pull or yank on that neck. The weight of the arm and the hand is almost just enough. And then taking those nice big inhales and exhales. And then let's switch to the other side. One side's always tighter than the other. This is my tight side, depending on how you slept. And then release the head, roll those shoulders. Now we're going to take it, we're going to reach those fingertips just down into the floor. So you're feeling a nice little stretch through that side of that body. And then taking our reach all the way to the other side. And back up. And let's take it back to the other side. And back up to seated. And one more time, stretching down and towards the floor. And release. Let's take our inhale all the way back up. And this time we're going to take a side stretch. So you can grab hold of the side of that chair for a little added support. Taking that reach all the way over. And then we're going to switch sides, taking that arm all the way to the other side. Feeling that nice stretch through that side body. And bring it back up. Let's inhale all the way up. And release the arms. This time we're going to inhale all the way back up. We're going to bring those hands down to heart center. So we're just going to bring them right here. From right here, we're simply just going to rotate those wrists down. You should feel a little stretch to the inside of those forearms. And then bring it back up. And then releasing those hands back down, feeling that slight stretch. And then release. We're going to bring those arms out into the front. This time we're going to take and rotate one hand down. So you're taking the stretch through this arm. If you need to rotate, you can always grab lower on those fingers, whatever feels best with your stretch. Everyone's flexibility is a little different. And then let's switch and taking the other hand down. You can pancake them or you can grab a hold. And then let's grab those hands together and we're just going to simply roll those wrists around. And then rolling it the other direction. Loosening up any tension we've got in those wrists. I think if you've been typing, schoolwork, all that kind of good stuff. And then bring the hands out into the front, opening those palms outward. And then bringing it back in. Let's take it all the way back up. And release the arms. And bring one arm across the chest, stretching through those shoulders. Got it. And then switching sides, taking the other arm across the body. And back to that first side. You can bend at the elbow, try to pat yourself on the back, push that elbow back a little deeper in the stretch. And then slowly releasing that arm. Let's take the other arm across. You can bend it, press it back. And then slowly releasing that arm. Shaking them out, letting that blood flow all the way back to those fingers. We're going to take and tap that shoulder, grabbing that elbow and stretching through the triceps. Taking a nice stretch. Now to deepen the stretch, we can release that arm and we can try to reach for those fingertips behind the back, taking it into a bit of a bind. Of course, making sure we take those nice big inhales and exhales. Releasing any tension in that shoulder blade, tricep. And then slowly releasing those arms and releasing them back down. Give a couple shoulder rolls. And then we're going to take the other side, tapping the shoulder, reaching that elbow up, stretching through that tricep. And then if you want to deepen that stretch, we can release that arm. One side's always harder than the other. I barely touch on this side. Now, of course, if you had a yoga strap, you could always grab a hold and pull it down with a stretch with the strap. Taking those inhales and exhales, releasing any tension you might feel in the shoulder, tricep. And then slowly releasing those arms. Roll those shoulders, shake it out a little bit. Now this time we're going to take a nice big inhale up and we're going to take it to some lower body. So we're going to reach for one knee and we're going to stretch that knee in towards the chest. Got it. And let's roll that ankle around. Got some snap, crackling, and popping going on over here. And other direction. then flex the foot, point the toe, flex it, point it, and then go ahead and release it back down. Let's take that inhale all the way back up and reach for that other knee. Drawing that knee up into the chest, squeezing it in, and then starting off with those ankle rolls. I don't know, I think this side pops even more than the other side. And both directions. And flexing that foot, pointing that toe, flex it, point it, flex, and point, and releasing it back down. Whew. All right, we're going to go into a little bit of a glute stretch. So we're going to take our inhale back up, and then we're going to reach for that leg, drawing that knee up. Then we're going to grab the foot and take it into a cross-legged stretch, making that nice figure four. Now, you should feel a little bit of stretch through that glute and that hip. You can press that knee down to deepen that stretch. Making sure you're sitting up nice and tall. Think about that belly button to the spine. We're going to release the arms and take a nice inhale up. And to deepen that stretch, we're going to take a forward fold. So we're reaching down and towards those toes. Now, if your stretch only lets you go to the knees, that's totally okay. Or you can try to reach down and towards the floor. Feeling that nice stretch for the glute, that piriformis, and of course the hip. Trying to release any tension, letting go of those muscles. Think about breathing into those tight spaces. Trying to let it go with your exhales. And then slowly drawing yourself back up to that seated position and slowly releasing that leg back into the floor. We're going to take our inhale back up and of course do the other side. So let's reach for that knee, drawing it up into the chest, grabbing a hold of that foot and crossing that leg over. You got it. And then you can press that knee down, trying to deepen that stretch a little bit, trying to get some of those muscles to release. Sitting up nice and tall. Let's release the arms, taking our inhale up, and then taking that forward fold. Either taking it to the knees or trying to reach it down and towards those toes. Taking those nice big inhales and exhales, trying to release any tension, any tightness in that hip and that glute. And then slowly sitting it back up and slowly releasing that leg. Those tight hips and glutes can also cause a lot of lower back pain. So we'll make sure we have stretch through those hip flexors too. So we hopefully eliminate some of that lower back from sitting around. Taking that inhale up. Let's take that forward fold all the way back down and towards those toes. This time we're going to take both hands and reach it towards the right foot. And then taking it to the left foot. Feeling that stretch through that lower back, through the sides. And back to the center. And slowly rolling it back up. We're going to take our inhale back up. Going back to that knee. Drawing that knee back in and towards the chest. We're going to extend the leg out. So you're going to switch and grab a hold underneath that leg. You got it. Feeling that stretch through the back of the leg. Now you can try to reach farther down towards that foot. Just depends on how flexible you are. So wherever feels best. Feeling that stretch through the back of the leg. Now let's roll that ankle around a little bit. And rolling it the other direction. You got it. And then flex the foot, point the toe, flex it, point it. You can try to deepen that stretch a little bit if you can. And then slowly bending the leg and releasing it back down. You got it. Let's take our inhale back up. We're going in for that other knee and drawing it in and towards the chest. Grabbing behind and extending that leg out, feeling that nice stretch. And then let's roll our ankle around. Got it. And both directions. Flex the foot, point the toe, flex it, point it. Let's do it again. Oh, feels so good. And point. And then trying to deepen that stretch if you can. Whew. Good job. And then slowly bend that leg and release it back down. This time we're going to take and extend one leg out to the front. So you're kind of sitting close to the edge of your chair. So do be careful you don't fall over in that chair. We're going to inhale it up. And we're going to go back to that forward fold. This time we're reaching it down and towards one toe. If you can reach all the way to that toe, great. You can always reach for the knees or the shins. And then slowly rolling it back up and slowly bending that leg. Let's take our inhale back up. And taking that reach out to the other toe. Extending the other leg out. Trying to reach it down as far as we can. And then slowly bringing it back in. We're going to go into some hip flexor stretches. So we're going to draw one leg to the side. So you're kind of sitting at an angle in that chair. So one leg goes out to the side, your other leg is out to the front. Now, we're going to extend that leg all the way to the back, taking it into a lunge stretch. So you're still seated on your chair, you've just got one leg extended out. You got it. Once you get into that position, you can raise that arm up. Should feel a little bit deeper in that stretch. Should be feeling it right here through the front of that hip flexor. You got it. And then releasing the arm down, bring that leg back in slowly. Bring the other one to the front. My chair swivels, I gotta be careful. And then bring the other leg out to the side. And we're gonna extend that leg to the back. You got it. Once you're in that nice lunge position, you can extend that arm up, feeling that deepening in the stretch. Good. And then release that arm back down and bring the leg back in, and let's bring it back to the front. You got it. Now we're going to take our inhale back up. We're going to go back to that knee, drawing it in into the chest. We're going to go back to that glute. So we're going to cross that leg back over, sitting up nice and tall. Ideally, we should be getting a little warmer, a little looser. That knee should be a little less tight to push down. Try adding a little extra pressure. You can do a slight twist in the body and use both hands. Taking those nice big inhales and exhales. Trying to release that hip and that glute, letting that knee fall. And then letting go of that leg. We're going to take that inhale up. And we're going to try that forward fold. So we're going to bring it down over that leg, seeing if we can't reach any closer to the floor. Trying to release that tension, breathing into those tight spaces. And then slowly drawing it back up. And slowly releasing that leg. You got it. Just feel a nice release. All right, we're going to go back to the other leg. So take that inhale up, and let's draw our other knee in into the chest. Bringing it up, grabbing a hold of that foot, taking that leg, crossing it over. And we're going to go back. This is my tight side. We're going to go back to pressing that knee down. You can take that slight twist in the torso using both hands to add pressure to that knee. Got it. Taking those nice big inhales and exhales. It's important we breathe. And then releasing that leg, facing forward. Let's take our inhale all the way back up. And we're going to take it for that forward fold, reaching it down and towards the floor. You got it. Trying to release that tension. Letting that leg fall. And then slowly bringing it back up. And slowly releasing that leg. Woo-woo. Doing awesome. All right, we're going to go back to that hip flexor stretch. So we're going to take our leg back to the side. And we're going to extend that leg out into that nice lunge. You got it. And then when we're ready, taking that arm all the way up. Feeling that nice stretch. Now we can continue going and taking that arm all the way to the back and extend the other arm up. Trying to deepen a little bit more, trying to reach farther down that leg. And releasing the arm, bringing the leg back in, and then let's turn it all the way to the other side. Whew. My chair is wiggling. All right, taking it to the side, let's extend that leg back out, bringing that arm up for that stretch. Taking a few nice big inhales right here, and then we can deepen that stretch by bringing that arm back and extending the other arm up into the air. Try to reach farther down that leg, feeling that nice stretch of the inner thigh and that hip. And then releasing the arm, bringing the arm and the leg back in. Let's bring it back to the front. Whew, shake out those legs a little bit. We're going to go into a torso twist. So we're going to bring our inhale up. And we're going to twist that body, taking our gaze all the way to one side. Now you can use your chair to help you rotate. You can use that leg as leverage. Trying to turn as far as we can. Taking those inhales and exhales. And then releasing it back to the center. We'll inhale it back up. And taking our stretch to the other side, taking that torso twist. Again, you can use that chair to help you rotate. Using that leg as leverage. And slowly releasing it back to the center. We're going to inhale it back up. And we're going to take it back to that first side. Trying to slightly deepen that stretch. And releasing it back to the center. Let's inhale it up. We've got one more on the other side. And taking that nice torso twist. And slowly bringing it back to the center. Go ahead and roll those shoulders back. And I want you to think about slightly reaching those fingers down and towards the floor. Lengthening that neck, bringing that head up nice and tall. We're going to take our gaze over one shoulder. And then slowly rotating it back to the front. And let's take that gaze over the other shoulder. And back to the front. And we're going to take one ear towards the shoulder. Keeping that slight tension, still slightly reaching down and towards the floor. Helps you deepen that stretch through the side of that neck. And to the other side, letting that other ear fall towards the shoulder. And bringing it back up. going to take our gaze back over that shoulder, and we're going to take our hands just slightly to the side of the jawbone and help deepen that stretch just slightly. And release. And taking our gaze over the other shoulder, and then you can slightly deepen the stretch by adding a little bit of tension, a little bit of pressure against that jawbone. And then releasing and facing back towards the front. Now we're going to take our gaze down towards the floor. Think about elongating the back of the neck, drawing that chin towards the chest. And then taking our gaze up and towards the ceiling, think about lengthening that neck, dropping those shoulders slightly down, taking that reach towards the floor with those fingertips. And bringing it back down towards the floor. Now you can take your hands behind the head just slightly and take a little bit of added pressure to help deepen that stretch through the back of the neck, but don't try to crank on the neck. Just add that little extra weight. Releasing the hands and taking that gaze back up. We're going to take it all the way up towards the ceiling. And release and bring your gaze back towards the front. We're going to roll those shoulders back. And now we're going to roll them forwards, bringing nice big circles forward. Got it. We're going to bring our arms up for our nice big inhale. We're clasping at the top, taking that stretch up. And then bringing those arms down into the front. So you're kind of rounding that back just slightly. And then we're going to reach those hands to one side. Think about pulling apart those shoulder blades. And then taking the hands to the other side. About pulling those shoulder blades apart, reaching out towards that corner. And back to the front. And opening it back up. And release. We're going to bring one arm out to the front, and we're going to take our reach up and around, and we're trying to reach those hands if we can, wherever your stretch might take you. There you go. And then slightly lift those elbows up, and then dropping those hands down into the front. Now this is a nice stretch on those shoulder blades, the shoulder. So trying to release that tension, breathing into those tight areas. Bringing those arms back up and slowly releasing out of that bind. Shake it out just a little bit, and then let's do the other arm. We're going to bring that arm up, reaching the other arm up and around, trying to reach for those palms, slightly lifting those elbows up, and then dropping those hands forward. Some people can extend their arms all the way out. I don't bend very far. It just depends on how tight those shoulder blades are and stuff. Breathing into those tight areas. Slowly bringing the arms back up and releasing. Shake it out. Guys are doing awesome. Let's take another nice big inhale up. And exhale. And let's open up the chest. Again, clasping behind the back. If any luck, this should be a little bit easier. And releasing those arms, roll those shoulders. And then we're going to roll those shoulders forward. Got it. Let's take that inhale back up. We're going to clasp the top. Take that stretch all the way up and towards the ceiling and bringing it back towards the front, rounding that back, and then reach it towards one side. And taking it to the other side. Back to the center, roll it back up, and release. We're going to bring that arm back to the front, going through our bind one more time, trying to reach for those palms. Ideally, this should get easier as we go along. Lift those elbows slightly up and release those arms back into the front. Depending on where you're tight, will depend on where you feel this. Sometimes it's more shoulders, sometimes it's more in the scapula. Bringing those arms back up and release out of that bind. Shake it out just a little bit, and we're going to bring the other arm back up, reaching it up and around, drawing those elbows up slightly and dropping those hands towards the front. Taking those inhales and exhales, really trying to let go of those tight areas. Bringing them back up and slowly releasing those arms. Take a nice little shake in those arms. Roll those shoulders. Release any tension we've got going on. Now we're going to go back into some more hip flexor stretch. We're actually going to scoot to the side of our chair. Try not to fall all the way off, but we're going to take one butt cheek onto that chair, and then we're going to extend the leg to the back. So our bent leg as they are on that chair, you got it. And then we're going to press our upper body against that knee, taking our gaze slightly up, feeling that stretch through that inner thigh and that hip. And then we're going to try to bring both arms up. Feel a little deepening in that stretch. And then release the arms back down. Now we're going to put that weight back on that butt cheek, and we're going to reach for one foot. So we're going to stretch through that quad. You got it. So we're bending that leg in. I knew this willy chair would come in handy. All right. Now we're going to take that leg out to the front and reach down into the toe. Again, being careful we don't fall off our chair. And then bring it back in. And let's scoot to the other side, bringing it to the edge of that chair, making sure that we're on there solid. And then we're going to extend that leg to the back. Oops, I got to scoot forward a little bit. I'm hitting the railing. Feeling that nice stretch and that lunge. And when you're ready, you can press that upper body up against that knee, taking that gaze slightly up. And then bringing both arms up over the head. Doing awesome. Release those arms down, release that leg, and we're going to reach for that foot, stretching through that quad. Got it. Doing awesome. And then bringing that leg forward, let's reach it down in towards that toe. And slowly drawing that leg back in, let's center ourselves back onto the chair so we don't fall off. We're going to take those feet just a little bit wide. We're going to inhale it up. And we're going to bring our forward fold just to the knees, and we're going to drop one shoulder. So we're getting that nice little cross twist in that body. And then taking it back up And then twisting and dropping the other shoulder down. And bringing it back up. Let's drop that other shoulder down. And back up. And the other side. And bringing it back up. Let's inhale it up. Keeping those legs slightly wide, we're going to take that forward fold all the way down and in between those legs. Trying to reach all the way down into the floor so we can release that upper body down as much as we can in between those legs. Taking nice big inhales and exhales. We're going to take both hands to that right foot, and then we're going to take and rotate that body up. Releasing it back down. Bring it back to the center, and then to the other side. And when you're ready, opening up that chest to the other wall. And releasing it back down, bringing it back to the center, and slowly rolling it back up one vertebrae at a time. Whew. All the hair back out of the way. All right, let's inhale it back up. And we're going to release those arms. We're going to extend one leg out to the side. You got it. And we're going to reach it down towards that toe. Being careful we don't slide off our chair. And then slowly bring it back up. Bending that leg, extending the other leg out. And we're going to reach down and towards that toe. Depending how tight you are through those core muscles, you might feel a little pull through that one side of that lower back. Try to breathe into that space and release. And bringing it back up. This time we're going to take that other leg back out. And all we're going to do is just rotate our body a little bit. Feeling a little stretch through that inner thigh. And then releasing, taking the other leg back out, and then slightly rotating to the other side. Got it. And bringing it back to the center. Let's bring those legs all the way back in. Doing awesome. We're going to take that inhale back up. And we're going to take our forward fold. Laying that chest onto those legs, reaching all the way down and towards those toes. If you can, trying to grab a hold of your toes and then pulling against your own body, trying to round out that back. And then releasing that tension. And then pulling against those hands. And then releasing it. Slowly draw it all the way back up. We're going to take those feet back out to about shoulder width. And we're going to take a seated cat and cow. So we're going to arch that back out. So we're rounding that back, and then we're going to round it in for that cat. So inhale. And then exhale, rounding that body. And inhale. And exhale it out. And inhale. And exhale. Bringing it back to our nice neutral spine. We're going to roll those shoulders. We're going to bring those hands up, taking just light laced fingers. taking the hands behind the head, I want you to think about pressing those shoulders and those elbows back. So we're trying to open it up as much as we can. Think about if somebody was pressing those elbows, but keeping our shoulders also back, pretty much opening up that chest. And then lean that body to one side. And back to the center, and to the other side. And back up. Releasing those arms. Roll those shoulders. Doing awesome. We're going to take our inhale back up. And bring it down halfway. We're going to bring one arm all the way across. It's a slight twist, slight stretch. Spit out my words. And then take both hands all the way to the other side. Got it. And back to the front. Reaching out towards the front. And then relaxing that body. Bringing ourselves back to neutral spine. Think about drawing that belly button into the spine. We're going to slightly tuck our pelvis. So instead of here, I want you to think about tucking, flattening that back out as if you were leaning against the floor. And then release. And then tuck it back in. Kind of flatten that back. Slightly tucking that pelvis under. This engages those abdominal muscles. And then release. And then engage. Think about flattening that back, belly button to the spine. And then release. Let's do 2 more times. We're going to flatten it out. And then release it. And one more time, tucking that pelvis under, flattening that back. And then release. Let's inhale it all the way back up. We're going to release one arm, and we're going to reach it down and towards the floor. So reaching up towards the ceiling, reaching towards the floor, taking that nice big stretch in those opposite directions. Bringing that arm up, and let's take the other foot, our other hand towards the floor. I don't think my feet could do that. And bring it back up. And release the arms. And roll the shoulders. This time we're going to extend those legs out into the front. So seated on our chair, we're just going to try and walk all the way to our toes. Being careful we don't accidentally slip off our chair. Taking that nice stretch. And then slowly rolling it back up. We're going to take and cross the leg over this time. Taking that complete crossover, and then we're going to take that torso twist. We are almost there. 45 minutes goes by so fast. And release. Let's take and cross the other leg over. And taking that twist. And bringing it back to the center. Let's release those legs. We're going to take a nice inhale all the way up. Bringing it down halfway. This time we're going to get ourselves a nice big hug. Hug yourself. Love yourself. Oh, you guys did an amazing job today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's stretch class. Oh my goodness, so fun. Oh, wait.